Hey there! I don't review a whole lot of vintage pens. That's mainly because I'm interested in, well, I'm interested more in modern pens than in vintage pens. And then recently I reviewed an American classic. I reviewed the Esterbrook desk pen, which was sent to me by someone. And then someone else contacted me and he said, well, you should continue doing that and I want to help you. And that person was Rod, and Rod sent me this pen. And this is a Sheaffer Snorkel. The Sheaffer Snorkel is a design icon. I think it was developed in the 1950s, and it has a very interesting and intricate filling mechanism, which I'll show you. If you're familiar with that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you've never seen it, I'm going to demonstrate it. Before I do that, I'll cover the parts of the pen, tell what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and then I'll do a writing sample. Okay. Nice burgundy pen, 1950s. I'm not sure whether this one is from the 1950s, but it doesn't really matter. The pen was developed there. It's more than 5 years old, so to speak. It's been around a bit. On top of the cap, there's nothing. Then you have the nice little clip. The clip says Sheaffer's. I'll try to focus here. Sheaffer's. So it says Sheaffer '*S, whereas these days I guess it usually just says Sheaffer. You have the center band. All of this is plastic, nice burgundy plastic, apart from the center band and the clip, obviously. The clip is spring-loaded, which is quite nice, gives you nice range of motion. On the barrel, it says, W.A. Sheaffer Pen Co., Fort Madison, Iowa, USA, made in USA. I can show you that. I think the lighting should work out. Yes, there you go. I'm not sure whether you can read it. It doesn't really matter. It's engraved in the plastic. As far as you can engrave plastic. You know what I mean. Okay, then something that's interesting are these little notches. You see the notches on the blind cap? I'll come back to those. It's important you have a good grip with this pen. You unscrew the section. The section is nice and ribbed. I like that. It gives a very nice, pleasant, comfortable grip. These threads are brilliant. I'm not kidding. They are not sharp at all. You hardly feel them. Even if you hold the pen on the threads, I don't feel any sharp edges. Modern pen makers should look to this. This is how it should be. You can hold the pen any way you like. It will not cut into your skin. Okay, so we have this nice bit of tapering going on and a slight taper going the other way around. It flares a little bit. Then we have the nib. The nib is gold, 14 karat gold, and I have to get loopy on this. It says Sheaffer's Reg US Patent Office, 14 karat, made in USA, number 5. So it's 5. It's a gold nib. This is not particularly flexy. You'll get a little bit of line variation out of this, but it's not extremely flexible or anything. So it's fairly hard. Okay, I want to show you how to fill the pen, but first I'll tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it. I like the design. The filling mechanism is complicated. This is not a simple, I mean, it's easy enough to fill it, but it's a very elaborate system they developed, which is quite cool. Actually, I think that's nice. And the nib is fine. I would have enjoyed it, sorry, if it would have been a bit flexy, but I mean, clearly you can't have everything, and it's a nice enough nib for what it is. I hope you can see some detail there. Works well. For me, the pen is a bit slim. It could be a bit wider for my personal taste, but of course the tastes vary a bit. This is the size of the pen. It works best for me if I post it, then it has a nice size. I don't want to do that too hard. I don't want to damage the barrel or anything. This pen, as I said, has been around a bit through the years. Okay, so that's what we got. I like this section with those ribs. I think it's a pretty cool pen. Anything that I really don't like about it? No, not really. It's a fascinating thing for what it is, which is a cool vintage pen. Okay, what makes it so special? What is a snorkel? You know a snorkel. You put the goggles on. You got the tube. You breathe through the tube when you're underwater. Well, it's something like this. So I'll try to do this in a way you can actually see what I'm doing. What I'm doing now is twisting the blind cap. I want you to take a good look at the section. That's the snorkel. So you got this snorkel tube coming out. Now what you would do is you would pull this bit. Inside is a sack, a rubber sack, or a latex sack, whatever they use. This was restored. What you do is you take some ink. I'll use a sample vial so that you hopefully can see a bit what happens. You dunk that snorkel in there, and then you push down this bit in one smooth motion. I'm not sure whether you can actually see the ink level drop. I hope so, but it goes up a bit because you blow out air, and then it goes down again. And this thing is no joke. Ink capacity is quite large. Just look at this. That's quite a stream of ink you got there. This is Waterman Florida Blue, by the way, should you wonder. And these vials are super useful for filling pens, so that's really nice. Of course, I got it on my hand. That was not because of the pen, that was just because of the way I was holding the vial. I'll take care of that later. Now when you're done, and then when you're done, I shouldn't have done this, of course. Amateurs, these people, it's amazing. There you go. You got ink in there. You could wipe that snorkel tube. Do I have a tissue here? I'm really well prepared. The nice thing about this is that you should not get any ink on the nib, on the feed, and most importantly not on the grip section. I mean, it doesn't matter if you get ink on the nib or the feed. Screw this back in place, and that should pull that snorkel back in, and you're ready to write. You should be able to write straight away, just grabbing some paper. Yep, it writes. You don't get any ink on the section, and therefore you don't get any ink on your fingers, which is of course really, really nice. So that's all there's to it. The snorkel pen, I love it. I think it's a really nice invention. It's elaborate. Clearly there are some moving parts. Moving parts wear down, moving parts can break, but it's just cool. So they have it. Next thing I do is a writing sample, and that's all there's to it. So I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye bye. Alright, writing with a Sheaffer Snorkel. The nib, well, I suppose that's fine, and the ink is Waterman Tifcaf, aka the ink formerly known as Florida, now known as Serenité. It's a simple, nice ink which I like to use in vintage pens because it's so well behaved. Bit of writing. Writing is pretty smooth. You get a touch of feedback, but I have the feeling that's because of the fineness of the nib. It's not really scratchy. Line variation, no, maybe a bit of fast writing. It's ugly, but as you can see there's no skipping. The feed keeps up well. Bit of line variation maybe. As you can see, you can get some out of there, but it's not extremely pronounced. You really have to push down a bit on it. I should do that. It's not even that bad actually. But you really, it's not a nib that opens up very easily when you flex it. So be a little careful about that. You don't want to spring it. Okay, what about wetness? Fairly even patch of ink and some nice wetness you got going there. So there you have it. A simple pen, but one that is dear to many people, and for a reason. It's a cool pen. Again, I thank Rod for sending me one. That's very, very kind. I'm glad to be able to share this pen in my reviews with the world, pen lovers out there. And well, that's all there's to it. So I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.